Employees. Hi, I'm Ivan, and this is the Detailer's Business Academy, where we strive to take you from detailer to entrepreneur. Now, employees, some people see them as a necessary evil. Some people just see them as evil. And some people, well, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let's see if we can get you to think of them as the greatest thing since sliced bread. Employees. First of all, how do I get employees? Everybody is talking these days about, I can't find employees. Nobody wants to work for me. Well, you might be looking in the wrong places, and you might be offering the wrong thing. First of all, we don't offer jobs to anyone. Stop offering jobs. If you offer a job, you're not going to get anyone. And the person that you do get, not the greatest. You need to offer a career. If the only thing they can aspire to is being your lackey for the next 5 years, they're not going to stick around. They're not going to be enthused, and they're not going to do a good job. What is going to get them motivated is you have a ladder to climb. You have another rung to get to. And that rung keeps getting higher and higher and higher. That is a career. Also, pay them well. You should be making, on average, as a detailer, somewhere around $100, $120 an hour as your gross sales. Most businesses look at wages as 30% of the gross sales. So if you're making $100 an hour, you can afford to pay them $30 an hour. And if you're paying someone $30 an hour, well, there's a good chance they're a good employee. If you're competing with Walmart or McDonald's for staff, don't expect any better. But if you're competing with the store manager at a Home Depot, you can expect that level of competence. And speaking of competence, training. You need to train your employees. And training employees is a little harder than you think. It's not just, hey, watch what I'm doing and copy me. No, you need to have a structure in place. And the better that structure, the better quality you'll get from your employees, and the faster they'll ramp up to speed. And that structure starts with standard operating procedures. You need a solid standard operating procedure to be able to train your employees. And if you don't have one in place, even if you don't have an employee, you're losing out. Standard operating procedures are important to any business. And the better your SOPs are, the better your results will be. The higher your quality, the better your efficiency, and the more money in your pocket. So SOPs are an integral part of hiring employees. And, in the comments below, how many of you have an employee manual? And I'm not going to get any comments on this because most of you probably don't. An employee manual is an important part of this as well. It gives the employee a clear, defined direction as to where they're going, how they're going to get there, and why they're doing it. As an example, start your employee off with one task, and only one task. You give them the standard operating procedure for washing the exterior. That's it. You need to learn this before you can climb the next step of the ladder. And once you've learned that operation, which is washing the exterior of a car, we'll move you on to the next one. But we have an expectation. By the end of the first week, you should be able to wash a car to our standards, following the standard operating procedure, and no questions asked. If you're not doing it by the end of the week, we have to evaluate why. Is it because our SOP is not up to snuff? Is it because you're just not the employee for the job? Or did we not support you the way we should have? And if it's the second option, well, we'll kindly say goodbye. And that's it. We'll find another employee. By giving them a defined timeline, defined quality standard, and time standard to do the job, now they have something to aspire to. They have something to work towards. And once they reach that goal, they have a bit of satisfaction. And that motivates them to go to the next goal, and the next goal, and the next goal. And it just keeps growing like that. So you need to motivate your employees. And motivation is not always money. I had one employee that by giving him Friday afternoons off, I may as well have given him an extra $50,000 a year. Allow me to cut in here. I noticed while I was editing that I forgot one very important thing. So let me throw it in here. First of all, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. But seriously, how do you find employees? Where do you find employees? Well, if someone is looking for a job, especially this day and age, they're probably not a good employee. You need to actively headhunt employees. When you go into a restaurant, you get exceptional service from a waiter or a waitress. Offer them a job. When you go into a hardware store, when you go into any store and you get exceptional customer service from someone that's attentioned, someone that knows what they're talking about, someone that seems to really enjoy what they're doing, offer them a career. Because you have the capacity of offering people a career, and a career they can grow into, a career they can learn. And no, you don't need prior experience to be a detailer. It's something that can be learned. It's something that actually is easy to learn if you have everything in place. Now back to the regular programming. Another way of motivating employees is to help them. Give them the tools that they need. Give them everything they need to do a good job. And one of those things is simplicity. Too many shops have too many choices. And your employees are employees for a reason. They don't necessarily want to own a business. They don't necessarily want to be their own boss. No. Some people like being able to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and leave at 5 and leave all the worries behind. How to do that? First of all, eliminate all the repetition in what you do. And by repetition, I mean, how many waxes do you have? If you have more than one, well, get rid of all the other ones. Pick the best one for your situation and keep it. How many compounds do you have? You should only have one. How many polishes do you have? Again, you should only have one. How many sealants? One, etc. You get the theme here. You only need one of each type of product. The more you have, the more decisions your employees need to make. And the more decisions your employees need to make, the more mistakes they can potentially make. Because if you say, go wax the car, and they pull out the paste wax and start putting the paste wax on, when you meant a quick spray wax, because you didn't communicate properly, well, they're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. The customer's not going to be happy. And it starts that snowball of getting worse and worse and worse. Whereas if you only have one wax in the shop and you tell the employee to wax the car and they put a coating on it, well, then they made a mistake. Or if you tell them to put a coating on and they put a wax on, then they made a mistake. But if you only have one, then there's no mistake to be made. They don't have to think. And people don't like to have to think. It's part of being an employee. It's having that latitude of, hey, my brain can go on hold while I'm doing this job. Now, not all employees are like that, and those ones you motivate even more. Do you have an employee that loves doing interiors? Well, don't force them to polish a car. Book more interiors. You have an employee that loves polishing. Don't force them to clean the interior of a car unless there's nothing else to do. And those of you that are afraid of hiring employees because I won't have enough work for the employee, you're probably at this moment marketing in a seesaw fashion, which means I get work, I get overbooked, I don't market anymore, I run out of work. I start marketing, I get more work in. I get overbooked, I stop marketing. I run down again. You need to be marketing on a continual basis. And to keep employees, your job is now a marketing manager. Your job is sales and promotion. Your employee's job is cleaning the car, is waxing the car, is coating the car, is whatever. Your employees look after satisfying the customer on a physical point, in other words, doing the job at hand. Your job is satisfying the customer in every other aspect, meaning communication, meaning sales, meaning follow-up, meaning everything else that goes around actually doing the job. And employees are great at actually doing the job. And I've read somewhere that I can't get employees to be as high quality as I am. Actually, I've read it way, way too often. But you can get employees to be just as good, if not better than you are. That comes down again to the standard operating procedures. That comes down to training. That comes down to supporting your employees by making sure your employees have every tool they could possibly need to do the job at hand, easily, not running around the shop looking for it. Every employee should have their own cart. When you go into a mechanic shop, every mechanic has their own toolbox. They have their own tools. Well, you should do the same with your employees. Now, I'm not saying that they should go out and buy all their own polishers, even though that's a good thing. What should be happening, though, is they have a dedicated cart for them. All their chemicals are on it. All their tools are on it. All their towels, everything for that employee. They now become responsible for that cart. And if you have an employee that their cart is meticulously lined up, everything is set up the way it should be, as described in your SOP, then great. But if you have an employee that the cart is and they leave their bottles laying around everywhere and extension cords and tools, well, that employee needs more support. That employee needs more encouragement to make sure that their cart is perfect all the time. Because if that cart is perfect, so will their work. It comes down to simplicity. If you make your employee's life simple, if you make it easy to understand, easy to follow, and enjoyable, you'll have employees. You'll have happy employees. You'll have employees that look forward to Monday. If you have an employee that dreads Monday, no, something needs to change. That something could be you, that something could be the shop environment, and that something could be that employee. One last little interruption. July 16th and 17th, 2022, I'll be doing a training in Newark, Delaware. If you're interested, leave a message in the comments below. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please leave them below. Always happy to answer. See you in the next one.